It has been a whirlwind 2.5 months for the new general manager of the New York Mets. He made the move to Flushing after serving as co-head of CAA Sports. It's a pleasure to welcome Brodie Van Wagenen to Sports Final. Brodie, how's the transition going?
Bruce, thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
The transition's been fun. We've had a pretty exciting first 60 days, and hopefully there's more to come.
What about saying, come and get us? What's the mantra there?
Well, I think that we have to believe in our team if the fans are going to believe in the team and if the players are going to believe in the team. So we've tried to work as hard as our players are, and hopefully we can back it up here in the coming months.
But is it too much bravado right off the bat, Brodie?
Well, I really think we have to be confident. Our players play in a really competitive environment in front of 35,000 people every night. If they want confidence or have to have confidence, then we have to give the same thing to them.
Reshaping the roster, beginning with the trade and acquiring Robinson Cano. How important was he as the first really point, the first big part for you?
Well, I think Diaz was probably the first big part. We needed to improve our bullpen with the state of the team last year, and by getting the best closer in baseball last year was a really important step. And being able to acquire a number 3 hole hitter like Robinson Cano to the same deal, it was a huge impact as we kicked off the offseason.
So here's a look at the offseason acquisition. Should Mets fans feel good about this in your mind?
Hopefully they're feeling great about it. We set off this offseason with a very clear agenda: improve the bullpen, add and bolster to our offensive capabilities, and then ultimately create more depth for our roster. And I think we've done all those things.
But what about those who say you'd be better served spending the money on a Machado or a Harper instead of divvying it up and giving it to some of these guys?
Well, I think the good teams across baseball this year, the last several years, have shown that having versatility, having depth on your 25-man roster, and really on your 40-man roster is the key to championships. You can't put all your eggs in one basket, and we're not going to do that here.
Do you still need outfield depth in your mind?
I think with Lagares and Broxton and now Jeff McNeil moving to the outfield in a primary role, I think we've got 5 great outfielders that can give us a lot of length to our lineup.
Your latest acquisition, Jed Lowry, is a guy who has versatility. He could play almost any position on the infield. He comes off an all-star year at 34. Do you still feel he's got some good years in front of him?
I think he's got some great years in front of him. He had the best 2 years of his career the last 2 seasons that he's played, and the fact that he's been open-minded and willing to move around the diamond for us speaks to his desire and his ambition to be great here in the last chapter of his career.
Where do you think he will play most, and who will this impact as far as the infielders are concerned?
Well, he's got the ability to play all 3 primary infield positions: second base, shortstop, third base. He could also play first base if we needed it, but the beauty is he's going to be in the lineup every day, and he hits from both the right and left side of the plate, which gives us a huge element of advantage for Mickey Callaway when he's building his lineup every day.
Speaking of Mickey Callaway, you've given him a vote of confidence, so to speak. What do you expect from your skipper, who was 33-22 in the last 55 ball games?
Well, I think Mickey got off to a great start last year. I mean, the team was 11-1 before we started experiencing some adversity, and then obviously the team finished well. But our goal was to give a first-year manager, now that he's got that year in the books, to surround him with some more veteran talent to help him slow the game down and to help give him different voices to help the players achieve their peak potential.
So a veteran like Jim Riggleman on the bench and a guy like Chili Davis, who we all know from his days here in New York, you think those are the guys that are surrounding him now who will really help him take the next step?
I do. I think we've got Di Sarcina is back, who was great with Ahmed Rosario, helping him defensively. Chili Davis is really going to be a veteran presence for so many of our veteran hitters that are now on the team. And I think that Riggleman gives Mickey a National League veteran who knows how to manage a game from an offensive standpoint, and I think Mickey's really looking forward to working with those guys. So
DeGrom gets $17 million. He will be here for this year. Will he be here for the future? Do you think about a long-term deal for Jacob DeGrom?
I think about it all. I don't sleep very much, Bruce, and I think that Jacob deserved the $17 million contract that he received. It was a record in salary arbitration for the largest raise in history. Hopefully this is just the first step in having Jacob continue to be a part of our franchise as we go forward.
Do you think it's possible that DeGrom can have the same kind of season, a Cy Young Award type season, because it's not really something that happens over and over?
Well, I think all of us that have watched Jacob DeGrom since the day he showed up in the big leagues have marveled at his talent and his consistency. So we're all banking on it, and we're not asking him to go sub-2 ERA every year, but we know that he's going to anchor our staff.
Will Noah Syndergaard really feel compelled here to achieve, maybe be extra motivated because he is a Met, and he was rumored in every possible deal?
Well, let's face it. Noah has, you talk about bravado, Noah has bravado. He has star appeal. He loves New York City. He wants to be great. He's been great in the past, and he's more motivated than anyone maybe on our entire roster to come out this year.
But you hear Noah's name, and you were wondering if he was going to this team or that team, and yet he finished last year pretty strong when you look at his numbers.
Well, one of the things we've tried to do, and what I've personally tried to do, is communicate with players throughout the offseason. So Noah was aware that his name was out there in trade talks. He also was aware that it was not our intention to move him, and we kept him abreast throughout the offseason.
So you've represented a lot of these guys, DeGrom, Syndergaard, Cespedes. How do you handle this conflict of interest, so to speak?
Well, I don't see much of a conflict of interest because my job is very simple. I'm here to help the Mets win games. A lot of those players, while I've got personal history with them, I do know their talent level, and I know their motivation is to do the same. They want to win, and we want to give a championship to this city.
How does your background give you an advantage when it comes to all of these different areas like development, analytics, and all of the things that go with scouting and things like that?
Fortunately, I've had the ability to look through not just the Mets lens, but I've been able to look through into the inside workings of all of the 29 other teams as well from my previous job. So hopefully we can bring the best elements of each of those teams and put it in a pot here, and we'll create a good recipe.
Talk to me about Cano at age 36, two-time Gold Glover, 296 homers. Do you think this ballpark is made for Cano or not?
I think he will do really well here. You know, for both acquisitions here, offensive acquisitions separate from Ramos, Jed Lowry and Robinson Cano both played in pitchers' ballparks. So I don't think they will be intimidated by the environments of Citi Field at all.
Brodie, you say, we will win now, we will win in the future, we will deliver to this city, this fan base. Do you stick by those comments, which you made early on?
I sure do. And as long as I'm in this chair, the fans can count on that. We're here to win. We're not going to back down from that.
But when you look at this division this year, do you say we can win this season? Can the Mets be a playoff team?
We can, and I've said in recent weeks that I hope the rest of the division continues to make exciting moves because it's going to be a lot of fun as we go head-to-head with all these other teams, but hopefully we'll be the ones left standing when this is all said and done.
All right, what do you worry about? I mean, you're a very confident guy and you're in a new role, but is there stuff that you stay up at night thinking about?
The short term right now, I've been staying up late at night making sure that we have the best team on the field at every position. I fear for one person going down and us not having the capable player to replace that player. So with the roster we've built right now, I won't sleep until we get the completed picture all together.
The one thing about the Mets that's been different from other teams is they've built their team around the starting pitching for many years. Other teams have done it with position players. Do you think you've kind of equaled that out during this offseason?
Well, I think we've been fortunate because we have had, for the most part, homegrown starting pitchers. Jason Vargas clearly came from the outside, and Syndergaard and Wheeler both came from trades, but they were young in the infancy of their careers when they came here. We had that foundation, and my mission when I took the job was to build around those guys and give them a team that can actually help them win. So, we shouldn't have to go through a Jacob deGrom year last year.
Right, so 15 seconds or less. What's your message to Mets fans?
Believe. We got to believe. Don't quit on us because we're going to go out there and we're going to win games.
Brodie, thanks so much for coming in. Wish you the best of luck.
Bruce, thank you so much.
That's Brodie Van Wagenen, the 13th general manager of the New York Mets. He's been bold since he took over the job on October 29th. Mets fans hope on September 29th, the last day of the regular season, he's talking about the playoffs for the Amazons.